Laura Palmer is Dead, a Twin Peaks podcast. We're here talking about part 11. I'm Kelly. With me is Melissa and Pat. And fans, we heard your feedback. You said...
Yes to Nate.
The quote was,
Thanks,
Nate
everyone.
makes a great addition to the podcast. And we agree. We agree.
It's true.
So we brought Nate back. He's here. Uncle Nate for part 11, which we just watched. I'm not sure if these are episode descriptions or titles that I'm seeing on Showtime, but there's Fire Where You're Going is what is either the description or the title.
No,
I think
that's it's the description.
I thought it was
All
the
the
title.
episodes are just part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And
Right.
it just keeps going up.
But then wasn't last time like Laura is the one?
Laura is the one.
That was the
That's
description.
They just make their
Isn't that
descriptions
a
so
title,
short.
though? Isn't the title sort of
Right.
a description?
They've been
That's
really...
right. Oh, mind blown.
They've been super hardcore with spoilers where they're protecting their IMDb. I remember, so we've watched this twice now. When we watched it on Sunday when it aired, I tried to get some IMDb stalking going on and couldn't do it. They didn't have it updated, and then the day later they had. So they are really controlling of what you can find out about the show.
You know who's going to be on it, but you don't know what role they play,
Right.
what their real name is.
Yeah. There's a lot.
How many episodes they're in.
They definitely don't reveal that stuff, which does make it fun. It really does. So
Which, another absence of Big Ed. I mean,
a reference to Big Ed, though.
But a
First
reference.
reference, he gets Jesse, the detective, says, "I just came from Big Ed's gas farm," and I was like, I think that's literally the first reference he's even gotten. So,
Because there's also no Audrey. She's...
But back to IMDb, I remember seeing that Big Ed was on there for like 8 or 9 episodes. Why did they
why did they think
that
malarkey?
Big
I mean,
Ed
he's
was
in
gonna-
it. But he was rumored as a cast member, and I think they just, any cast member that was rumored,
just
put them
guessed
on for
his
8
episode.
episodes.
But he was also in like the Entertainment Weekly,
Right.
where they did all the photo shoots
Right.
for it.
Laura is also in every episode, apparently.
They list her in every episode,
I
even
mean,
though
they
she
show
hasn't.
her face. They show
They
her
do
face
show her
That's fair.
Mhm.
in every episode.
So they have to give her the credit.
Right.
Maybe Ed
Yeah.
clears his throat in the
Yeah.
beginning,
Background.
in the music, and therefore he needs a credit.
I'm not missing Ed, but I am missing Audrey. And one thing before we get into episode 11 that I forgot about part 10, well, didn't forget, but I did a rewatch of original Twin Peaks. I almost like to use like the British idea of series instead of seasons, because that's how it feels like it's a separate series. But the first meeting of Cooper and Audrey, Audrey tells Cooper about Johnny, and she describes him. This is in Traces to Nowhere, episode 1-2 of Twin Peaks.
Ooh.
And she describes him as having emotional problems, and then adds, it runs in the family, which I thought was really a good foreshadowing of Richard Horne.
And just so you know,
Yeah.
you never have to go
Yeah.
back and rewatch anything just for some fun
I just
stuff.
wanted to because
Wait,
it was
so
fun.
was this a parallel, how did you find this episode? Was
No, this was the original. This is like
The very first one.
season.
Oh, okay.
So Nate,
So-
I do a yearly rewatching of Twin Peaks in the fall. Fall is Twin
As
Peaks
a
season for me.
yearly, then multiply that by
Right.
2 or 3. Then.
Now it's become more than yearly. But I was like, it's almost kind of fall, and I'm gonna do a rewatch, even though we're doing a podcast.
And it's July.
It's July, close
It's not
enough.
close to fall.
I just want to get my fall nostalgia on.
She's like hitting Q3. She's ready to pull out the turtleneck.
I love me a turtleneck.
Everybody knows the leaves start falling Q3. It could be late
pencil
Q3, but
skirt.
nonetheless.
Ooh, black tights. Forget about it.
She's
So,
rounding up, you're rounding down.
That's
So.
I like to live in the
True.
moment. You're jumping ahead to the future.
Jumping ahead, but I did think it was interesting. So anyway, Richard Horne has emotional problems, is my point. But
Just a bit.
we're here to talk about part 11, and that was the worst transition ever. It starts with 3 adorable street urchins playing catch outside.
That's just what Kelly calls children.
Yes.
Whenever she sees them, she's like, look at those little leeches. Lurchins?
Urchins, street urchins.
Street urchins.
You know, like they're in Aladdin.
Stealing bread and talking to monkeys.
Basically, tell me where I'm wrong.
Just wait for an old guy to throw the window shutters open and throw down some money.
Riff raff. Anyway, this is not an Aladdin podcast.
It could be. That's one thing I know about, is Aladdin.
Agreed. So adorable street urchins playing catch, having a day, just a wonderful day, and then we see
What? Who comes out of the woods? But Miriam without an eye.
Oh, she didn't have an
Did
eye?
she not have an eye?
Well, I thought the same thing. Like, it
Yeah,
looked
her
like
eye
her
was
eye was
gouged
gone.
It's
She gouged her eyeball.
extremely just
I did not see
disturbing.
the no
Oh, yeah.
eye.
Either that or it was blood from her head running into her. But it
Well,
looked like it was coming out of her eye.
It looked like her skull was basically like it
Right.
looked like that.
Oh.
Did you guys
Side of
notice
the face
the
was a
red
skull,
curtains in the trailer? So the curtains in the trailer were red. Not the front curtains, but the back curtains.
Oh,
there were a
I didn't-
lot of red instances in this episode.
Nope.
Yeah, it was a really disturbing graphic. She was bruised everywhere. I mean,
Well, and then
she
this
was-
means that she got out before
It
we
blew up.
assume her trailer blew up.
Yeah,
Because she was
'cause-
not burned at all.
Right,
She
that's
was just
true.
bloody and bruised.
or Richard screwed up and like,
yeah, she was passed out and thought that she was dead.
Well, but he meant to blow up the trailer, like
Right.
Melissa was saying, but maybe the flame went out or something. He
That's
screwed
true.
up, you know. and
Yeah.
He didn't stick around to see the job done, and he just
Right.
screwed up. kind
Should have
of,
just
like-
waited and then threw something in there
Right.
to make sure that the job's done. That's
Yeah.
But
true. He
awesome.
had to beat up his grandma.
Yeah.
Classic Bond villain mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going
Classic.
to explain my scheme to you and then try and
Right.
murder you slowly and walk away and assume it happened. Yeah, it was really a disturbing image. And then we're still at Fat Trout and we cut to Becky Burnett and she gets a phone call. And my question is, who is this phone call from that tips her off that Richard,
Okay, yes.
or not Richard, Steven.
Yeah, I think her friend or someone saw Steven with the Hayward girl.
Right.
And
Gotta tease that out, baby.
what? Are you kidding me?
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Anyway.
Some girl. We
Some
don't know
are
who
from
yet.
Maybe, I don't know who.
Some ginger.
So many gingers.
I know. Yes.
Yes.
So you think it's a friend
yeah,
of
I think-
hers?
yeah, a friend of hers told her.
Saw.
And it seems like he just did something. It made it seem like he did something crazy, but
Right.
it was just that he was with
Well,
He's cheating on her.
Gertrude
No
Hayward.
bigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but it was
Gersten.
just the
Gersten,
last
okay.
episode where we saw him freaking out on Becky.
Right.
Was that just episode
That was
10?
Yes. And he
Yes.
was saying, don't give me that innocent act. It was like he was accusing her of cheating with someone, I thought. So, classic projection.
Right. And so she goes fucking crazy.
She does.
Like, it's not even like a little crazy.
Right.
Like,
Which is the first instance we see of a character reacting in a bigger or more irrational way, I think, than they normally would. The theme for me in this episode is the beginnings of kind of the end times. Like, people are starting to freak out, shit's going down, just these hyper reactions to things.
It's like the Ghostbusters where he's like, rivers are running with blood,
Right.
dogs killing, or cats killing
Yeah.
dogs.
And what I noticed too is they say in the original Twin Peaks, that Bob is drawn by the pleasures and the
Yeah.
fear. And I think that that's a lot of when you see a character start to go off the rails, it's driven by either pleasure or fear of pleasure, jealousy, like she
Or
has.
Bob.
Right.
we're just
Where do you
pure
think she got that
Pure
gun
Bob.
at?
I think she just,
Under
it's
the
the
bed.
type of place where just
Where did that
everyone
come
has a
from,
gun.
though?
Everyone has a
Yeah.
gun.
I mean, you're in a
It would have been
trailer
funny if it
park.
was the same kind
You
of
don't have a
girly
gun?
pearl handled
No, I
Shelly
know.
gun. That would have been a good opportunity for some Shelley sexy gunplay callback.
Yeah, that's what I was really hoping for, but
Right.
she just pulled that from under her bed. Like, when in doubt, you have your gun on your bed.
She
right?
has,
Or a frying pan.
Right.
That's a bat.
she knows nothing about sexy
Or
gunplay.
a sword. I have a bunch of swords.
We've got literally a like umbrella stand filled with swords, like in the corner of our apartment.
There's
So-
it's so true. It's just we're all looking at it right now.
There's
three
these
swords.
baseball caps on top of the swords to kind of cash them up. But the reality is there's a lot of swords in this apartment.
It's my hat stand.
Well, it's interesting because after like knowing that Amanda Siegfried was in this episode, and I thought it was interesting to do research, like when she was a kid, that she used to hold her breath underwater for long periods of time in the bathtub, and that's why her eyes are so bulbous.
I mean, they get
But they're
real.
very expressive, so I
They
think that's
get
kind
real.
of like
They get
you know
real
her.
red when she's crying.
Well, that's under
So
high
then-
pressure. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
We'll get to that scene.
Wow, Nate, it's really clear why our fans had such a response to you. You're so diligent in your
Insightful.
research. Insightful. I mean, that a lot of people don't know about that factoid.
Right.
No,
It's a really
I think I read that on Breitbart.
So it's definitely
Nothing-
true.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. they can't
another
lie.
casting triumph. Yeah, it's perfect. So we Becky runs out with the gun, and then of course right away she calls Shelley to get Shelley's car, and Shelley rushes out of the Double R. Norma still working on those books.
Yeah.
Just never
All she
ends.
does is math, apparently.
She does
like,
a lot of
she
math.
has her Rolodex for stuff. Did you see that? There was a
I did.
Rolodex.
And she has whiteout. I was like, she's got a lot of whiteout. Her previous role kind of involved being beautiful, walking
Right.
around,
No, she
holding
just-
stuff. Now it's a lot of real work.
She
And
couldn't,
now
she
she's
couldn't
like-
transition to the future either, though, with all these like
It's true. Everything's paper.
paper,
Yes,
like
she should be on a
white
laptop,
out.
but let's
Yeah.
not talk about it.
Everything's paper in a booth in front of everyone, just doing her taxes or whatever she's doing.
And judging. Every time Shelley does something where
Right.
she's just like,
just like her
she
mother.
sees all. She
she's
knows.
like,
Oh my God, MT wins. That
MT
was a
wins.
thing. Jeez. Yeah, she sees everything. Becky's got a gun. She's stolen Shelley's car. I liked in this scene how we've seen Becky up until this point, and whether it's because of some weird Black Lodge magic, or I think a little bit could be that Becky's on a bunch of drugs that are bad. Like it's the sparkle coming from Canada.
Right.
She's behaving very,
Okay.
characteristically. But we've seen her as a victim, and she's even been compared to Laura in a lot of articles. And here she's just not so sweet. She's a little bit more Richard Horn than
So
anything
yeah,
else.
it's not looking like a Laura
Right.
here.
Like Laura always, for all of her destructive things, she always had this like sweetness about it. I don't know. Even when she was doing
never
something,
harmful to
She was
others.
more of a manipulator, I thought,
Right.
than like a
and
crazy.
if she was
like,
gonna harm anyone, it was
Right.
yourself.
she
Right,
wasn't
exactly.
physically
She was
like
just-
she wasn't physically abusive.
Yeah.
Or,
No.
Yeah.
like how she kind of talks about that star burning out, like that was Laura. She was just like kind of hurtling through, but it wasn't
Kind
about
of like that stuff the giant spewed out. So
Right. That was she's the one.
yeah,
Yeah, but
that's
if
her
she's
light.
the one,
That was her light.
Right.
It was
Yeah,
burning
but
out.
she has a lot of Shelley personality traits.
Yes.
Because she steals the car. Shelley then jumps on the car, holds
Right.
onto the hood, and then Beck is like, "Fuck you, Mom. I got places to
Right.
be, so I'm gonna swerve around until you get off the car."
I mean, who hasn't done that?
that scene was
I mean-
crazy. And when we watched that on Sunday, I was like livid because I was like, if this little Becky bitch kills our beloved Shelley, I will lose my mind, David Lynch. I'm sorry, that's not happening. I thought Shelley was going to get killed. I was
Right,
really
because she had her
worried.
red shoes on,
Red
which was weird
shoes.
because she's a waitress.
And those
Right.
are Audrey's shoes. Why are you wearing the red shoes? Red is bad too. Red's always like, and she had red lipstick on, which is like the more red you have in your life, the worst things are going for you, especially if you're a ginger. I did edit out our whole ginger segue for the last podcast, so we can ginger segue this time.
Well, I mean, I do believe that gingers have a universal telekinetic power over the color red.
If that's true,
That is
I mean, it makes sense.
right.
then
If you're gonna make fun of a ginger, like
Oh my
don't
God.
wear or have any red on
I
you
literally
anywhere. Red
made fun-
pens.
I made fun of a
Yeah.
ginger the other day, and the cherry just fell from my sundae.
I know.
So,
Right.
Mind
That
towers.
telekinetic time
Yeah.
powers.
because a ginger child ordered ginger ice cream, and I thought it was the most funniest thing. So I was making fun of
Course.
this child
Right.
as I was walking out of the ice cream shop, and then
Yeah.
Karma's like, "Cherry? No, ground." And then I swore in front of a lot of other children.
Don't mess with them. And nothing tells us that more than this next scene where Becky goes to the apartment building, which the apartment building interior that she goes to find Steven looks like the Palmer house. Am I right? Like it looks like
I
this.
thought it was the Palmer House.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an
Sad,
apartment
but
building.
sad.
Now, granted, we live in Chicago, not in Snoqualmie, Washington, where this was filmed.
Twin Peaks.
But yes, Twin Peaks. It's really Snoqualmie, Washington, listeners. But it didn't look like an apartment building. But then all of a sudden we see 208 is the apartment number. I don't know if that's.
catch that.
We have twos are big all of a sudden. Twos weren't anything. It was all
really-
about threes, but now twos are the rage. But these are sentences I didn't think I'd say today, but they happened.
I don't
It's
know why you
wonderful.
didn't.
I know, I knew we were podcasting. What? So Becky runs up to the apartment trying to find Steven. A woman tells her that Steven's left.
They laughed.
And we see Steven huddled in the stairwell with Gersten Hayward, played by Alicia Witt, who we know from playing Gersten Hayward in Twin Peaks.
For one episode.
She's the fairy princess. She plays the piano.
And
In
she's
that-
the only famous person,
Right.
basically.
The
Like,
weird Hayward Supper Club scene.
Yeah.
So much. That scene is one of the hardest to watch for me. Like, it's just rough.
Did we catch how many times Becky shoots at the door? Because then she
6
gets
times.
I caught 6.
Yeah.
Yeah, she unloaded.
this time.
Yeah,
she
6
fired
times,
a lot
and she
into
just-
that door, yeah.
And that too, I can understand Becky being really like angry and screaming, but that seems like something's taken control of her that isn't the Becky we've seen previously. Not that she's some golden child who's perfect by any means, but in this episode she had a dramatic shift in character, and I don't know that I believe that it's not caused by some sort of like this rift that's happening between the Black Lodge and the real world that I think is really what the underlying theme of the episode is that like this evil seeping into Twin Peaks and the world at large.
Yeah.
But maybe she is just a real pill. I don't know. I mean, if that's it could be, certainly.
But then we find out the most important thing, because when Carl helped Shelley
Yep.
pick her up from the ground that her daughter threw her on from the car hood, that she calls Norma, being like, "What do I do? What do I do?" And she's like, "Call Bobby."
Right.
And then Carl calls the switchboard because he just has access to it.
Yeah, he's
in
got
his
like
van.
a police radio. Because
Just-
Carl,
Well,
because
maybe.
he's gonna
He's a very
trailer
prepared
park.
guy. I mean,
He's very
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
And then
He's
she
delightful.
goes, "Here's Shelley Briggs for Sergeant Briggs." And
Yes.
so we know that the Briggses, it's all the Briggs. So
She married Bobby Briggs. Bobby and Shelley.
Yay!
Yay, they're divorced, but they got married.
and divorced.
And they made a
or
baby.
separated. We don't know if it's official.
That's
Oh,
true. There's
good point,
definitely
good
still
point.
love there. We'll get to that in a moment. But yeah, I loved that. I thought the way they revealed it was very cool. With just being like, I've got Shelley Briggs, and I got chills as soon as I heard Shelley Briggs. It was great. We, of course, have known her previously as Shelley Johnson. So that was a real treat. We answered the question, who's your daddy, Becky Burnett? So that's one person who's got a daddy. Who doesn't have a daddy yet, though? Richard Horn sure does not. It's not
No.
quite fair in the parentage space.
We don't know who his mother is officially yet.
We
either.
don't. I know. It could be, I don't know who. Donna, I guess that's technically a horn.
Oh, touche.
Hey.
Yeah. But
Nobody wants that.
But Donna wouldn't be. Grandma wouldn't be.
Right,
No,
that's true.
no,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
yeah,
so.
right. Yeah,
I think it's
Johnny
pretty.
could still be the father.
it's true, and that would be such a cop out.
He could
God.
he could scientifically.
Right, it could
but
be.
Come on, that's not. That's
Some of
not
us
a
have hope,
possibility.
guys.
No.
Why is it?
I wasn't surprised, honestly, though, that they departed from the Richard Horn plot in this episode. I feel like everything's kind of been every other episode. You get an answer.
Well, it's the Lynch. It was like the last Twin Peaks too,
Right.
where it was like, we're gonna do something over here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then we gotta fill you in on this stuff because we have 17,000 plots going.
Yeah,
on.
so,
There's just so
in a
many
way,
characters.
it is kind of doing what the original series did. When
it's-
you explain it that way, I mean that
That's
does
true.
sound-
Because
Yeah.
it was like, oh, here's an episode just about mill plot. I
Right.
don't care, but oh, you forgot about these guys.
Remember the mill plot?
Stuff's going on over here too.
Right.
I just want to see Catherine.
Yes.
Catherine
Well,
coming back?
Catherine
I
Martell,
think
yeah, I
she
think she
is.
is supposed to be
But
back.
and that's
yeah.
the weird thing, and I think that's what makes this
Yeah.
series more interesting is in
Waiting.
Twin Peaks, you knew right away what was the mill plot and what was the Laura Palmer plot. Like the A plot and B plot were pretty clear. You were like, oh, these characters are involved, then I don't need to pay attention. This is the time to go to the bathroom. This series, we don't really know. Like,
It's like it's
do I need to worry about the Mitchum brothers? Do I not? I don't know. You know, like everyone could be important and we have no clue, so everything has to be paid attention to, and that's stressful.
You
but it's
have to
interesting.
go back to your first viewing of Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Back in time
mean,
to how you
yeah.
felt.
You can't just jump into this fucking series.
No, you cannot.
Which we've mentioned before,
I
but it's
know.
just like
Which
it's
is so
reiterated
different.
every time.
Like, think about how much it really speaks to how much respect David Lynch has in the community that he's been allowed to have this project where he's given this massive budget, complete creative control. It feels like. I know there was a period of time where he backed out of the new Twin Peaks. So there must have been some conflict. There always is. But it seems to me like a lot of creative control.
Probably episode 8
Oh, yeah.
where they're like, what the fuck is
Right.
this? How much money you're spending on this bomb scene?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what the
You
whole
quit
thing was.
last year at
At a certain point. And then Mae Chinamak did this whole. Did you see the
I did,
Twin
yeah.
Peaks without David Lynch? So good. But like he's had so much control, and he's been able to, have a series that is like, hey, here's this series that you have to have watched 25 years ago to have any enjoyment in. Like
it's true. It really helps.
a
if you
big
take
ask.
notes.
I know.
It really helps.
So right after we get this Gersten Hayward reveal, we have a little scene that I think would be very easy to miss, but that's actually very important, where Maggie, one of my favorite characters, I love her, switchboard operator Maggie, is fielding a bunch of calls from different areas, and she's just answering and saying, someone's on the way, someone's on the way.
Right.
There was
And
a lot of
it's-
1017s, weren't there?
Right, yes. So that tells us that there's more activity than usual lighting up the Twin Peaks, switchboard.
But
Things
are
are
they
going
all
up.
calls going to the apartment where Becky shot up?
I don't think necessarily. I
Because
think
if it's a big apartment, a lot of people are calling about it, and she's
could
telling.
be, but I don't think
That's
so.
why she knows to say already they're on their way.
No, I think she's.
Because-
Well, it could be, and I could be.
I
I, could
think-
be wrong,
Okay,
but
I just thought it was just a lot of activity.
a lot of activity, and she
but
just
if
doesn't
she already
know.
knows they're on the way, that means that.
Or that's just her line. Someone's on the way. What else can she really say? You know?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah, and we'll find out next time. But I think.
I guess
we
Just like an
see-
IT guy when you have an issue
Mhm.
with a computer.
We'll be right on top of that, Rose.
Right. And they're out in the alley smoking a cigarette.
I mean, maybe,
Did you unplug and plug it back in? Did you take the battery out? Did you restart?
are your eyes open? Are you breathing? Like, no.
It's like I did all of that before I called you because I knew
Right.
that would be the first thing you
Both
asked.
browsers? You bet I did. Yeah. I don't know. It could be, but I think the through line we're seeing and that we see later with the Double R scene is that there's more and more criminal activity happening. People are freaking out.
Shit's going weird.
Right, but that scene happened right after she shot the door.
That could be. Yeah, very well could be.
It's true.
Yes. So we transition then to Buckhorn, South Dakota, and the site, which we had all been speculating about what the site was. We were all wrong. It was the site that William Hastings and Ruth Davenport went to try and get to the zone. So I thought it was like the Black Lodge. You guys thought it was the farm. It's all a portal to the Black Lodge, but it's, for some reason, this portal happens to be in this one spot.
It seemed like the attic above the convenience store, possibly.
Well, it could very well be.
I don't know.
So Gordon Cole sees the Doug Puzz in the convenience store at one point in this scene.
Yeah, the sky starts to swirl when he gets to a certain spot.
Right.
Yeah. It says sees a vortex.
Sees a vortex. Yeah.
So a couple of things I want to unpack about this scene. Number one, the different degrees of ability to see Doug Puzz and otherworldliness. So how do we feel about this? What did we observe?
I think Albert saw some of it, but like not like the weird vortex, but he saw like more than I think anyone else.
Right.
Diane was a little intuitive. Tammy's just fucking awful, so she doesn't
even
understand.
for me, I've been trying.
Did Bill see the Doug Puzz?
No.
Well, it was interesting because they showed lots of perspectives, though, like through that scene. Like, you were very consciously, like, seeing what people were seeing individually,
so Mackley,
separate from each other.
The detective Mackley, he didn't see anything. And our
Right.
favorites,
Tammy
didn't see any of the Doug Puzz.
Weird.
Right.
So those two didn't see anything.
Yeah, if it were like kind of like a heat map, it'd be like Tammy and Mackley had like 0 heat, and like Gordon Cole was like red hot, and then like Albert was maybe the next because he saw the Doug Puzz and he said, "I think there's one in there." Or no, Cole said, "Think there's one in there, Albert." So they both saw the Doug Puzz.
He's more of an orange,
Right?
And then Diane's more
like a
yellow, and then everyone else is. I feel like Matthew Lillard, because
he was like
can't get away from being Matthew Lillard.
Right.
He's just not a character. He's always Matthew Lillard.
No, it's so weird.
And then, but when they came to kill him, like, he didn't see anyone. I was like,
he didn't see, but he sensed. He was getting like scared and shaking.
But then I also thought that was like them like attacking his brain.
Right.
Though.
It could be. I feel like he had at least more intuition into that thing than Tammy. Tammy and Mackley were like straight 0.
So
yeah,
maybe they were able to kill him because he had already gone through the vortex.
Yeah, maybe.
Why would they even care about him, Bill Hastings?
Right, I don't know.
Maybe because he's taking more people there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. More, it was.
But wouldn't it want to kill all of them? But it could only kill Bill Hastings, though, because he had already been in.
Right.
There.
Or he had the knowledge for it, but
they all have the knowledge for it now. They
That's true. And then you think about the black box thing and why those people died, though, too, where they didn't really have any stake in the game. They were just random people that were just there.
It was,
and I think that's what is still mysterious. Is what are they protecting? Are they protecting, or what are the Doug Puzz killing people over? Because this scene has, we know this is some sort of portal because Gordon Cole sees it, but is it? But she has coordinates on her arm, and presumably that's why she got killed. And the coordinates are not to the spot they're at. So it's the fact that they're in one spot talking about another spot makes them someone who's a threat to these unknown entities. It's all very muddy. Is essentially where we're at right now.
A lot of homeless people.
Yeah. But I agree with you, Nate, that I really enjoyed the different perspectives. And what was really a great moment of that was when you saw Gordon's perspective and you saw the full, convenience store Doug Puzz, which is directly from Fire Walk with Me. And then it flashes to what the rest of them are seeing. It's just David Lynch waving his arms in the air at nothing. And I thought it was such a cool tableau because the way they set this up, it's very dusty, and David Lynch is kind of in that sleek suit with his classic David Lynch hair, waving his arms, and nobody sees what he sees, but everybody believes in what he sees. And it felt to me like a big, this is how we feel about David Lynch, that like he has some vision and he's giving these actors literally pages on the day and they're just blindly following him because they trust him. And he's got this group that just trusts him and follows him, and he's the magician. And I really saw that in this scene.
That's why Albert is staring. That's why he's got his eye on him so hard. Yeah. He pulls him out of the, he starts to like fade in and out.
Right.
Kind of like when Laura started like shifting up in the first episode into the Black Lodge. Like,
oh, that's an interesting call. Yeah.
What is Laura's in trouble? That's another thing that they haven't come back to from the first or second episode. But she's in trouble. Like she was like in the Black Lodge.
Or
and then, like,
I still take it to mean could have been like freed from her burdens. I don't know.
With that scream that she had.
But yeah,
they said she's in trouble. They said she's in trouble.
Okay, no, I believe you. Like that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting. This scene was a cool image, and even with as much as I could not stand Tammy because it was her most aggressive.
I know.
And I've been the biggest Tammy fan of the group. I've been at least a neutral on Tammy. I haven't had many Tammy rants, but this time even I couldn't do it.
Because I've been doing so well at them. Because I fucking hate Tammy. Because why are your legs so far apart? You're so tiny. Like, you're basically doing the splits.
Well, and it's not like you can't be a gazelle woman and not walk or sit. Because, like, Laura Dern's right there next to her, like...
They're big palazzo pants.
Non-obtrusive, right? But, like, Tammy's, like, standing with her legs, like, 3 yards apart.
She's trying to ooze sensuality, and it just doesn't quite feel right for some reason. I don't know.
Because she's not sensual looking either. Like, she can't pull it off. She doesn't have the...
She's extremely beautiful, no doubt, but
she's more of like one of those cute statuesque, like, put me in a pretty dress and let me just stand still.
She's a beautiful singer, and I still feel like...
sway my hips, but it's just basically my hip bones that are moving.
I do feel like she's misused, because she's a beautiful singer. I would love to see her be in, like, a Bang Bang Bar scene, but now we can't do that because she's Tammy, so she can't be, like, a singer.
Her hair could use a lot of body, too.
It's true. It's true.
Like, if you're gonna be sexy, you have to, like, really own it.
I mean, I would expect some crispy bangs or a little, like...
Some Donna hair.
Right.
At least a little volume.
Right.
One thing interesting, this address is 2240 Sycamore. Come on, David Lynch. This episode, David, I'm going to throw out there, you're making the number theory real obvious, and it's almost sloppy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's those people.
Well, I don't know if it's the number, but it's the...
Well, Sycamore Grove, we all know, is... Well, it was Glastonbury Grove, but with sycamore trees is where Cooper goes to enter the Black Lodge. And just pushed my glasses up on my nose, listeners. But, so Sycamore we definitely know. And then 2 divided by 2, so many 2 things going on.
Yeah. 2, 2, 2, 4.
We pivoted from 3s to 2s somehow. It was all about 3s. Now it's all about 2s. But... Oh, go ahead, Nate.
Oh, no. I was going to segue into the next scene where
the best scene.
Who was it? Who saw it first? The boob, like, kind of floating above the grass, like at the tail end. Were we done talking about the portal?
I think it was Cole.
Gordon.
What the hell happened, Mackley? Oh wait, no, that was Matthew Lillard. We skipped Ruth being dead.
There was a lot that happened in that. I know. Like 5 minutes.
Right after Gordon sees the portal and Albert pulls him away from the portal,
they see the boob.
Right, they see the boobs.
That has no nipple.
It's no nipple.
I mean, it has a nipple, but it's such a faint nipple. I don't think it's realistic.
I was happy to see she had a lovely, voluptuous, curvaceous body, and that's nice to see.
Yeah, but
I was very pleased with that.
You can't stop staring at the fake boobs, though.
Like, truth.
These were not real.
No, they were. But I mean,
I hope my boobs look that good when I die a headless corpse.
I'm not trying. I'm not trying to be dumb, but was it plastic surgery or rigor mortis? That's my question.
I feel like it has to be plastic surgery. They don't like become
Even when you
firmer
die,
and,
do
like,
they
pop
I
up?
don't know.
Are there any theories on
I
who we
don't-
think this headless woman
Oh, this
would
is
be?
Ruth the librarian.
It's Ruth the librarian.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we found her head. We just
Her
lost her
head's
body.
in bed
So
with
That's
Major Briggs.
right. Oh,
So
wow.
now we're just
I'm
missing-
just playing along for the people
We're-
listening. So
We're
that-
missing Major Briggs's head.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
Although
the
we saw it
last-
floating past Coop
Right.
in the
In the
in-between or whatever.
15 turned 3 portal.
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
with mother
Right.
banging on the door.
with Mother.
Yeah, with yes.
So
Oh man.
route, coordinates.
And then we do get so Hastings dies after seeing Ruth, his lover, and because the Dugpa enters the police car,
yeah.
his head explodes in the same way as Tracy and Sam's head explodes. Did I look those names up before the podcast? Sure, I did.
From the nanny.
From the first episode. Yeah.
From the first episode. So was this actually, we got some callbacks from the first episode. Tom went to the Black Lodge, but he was wondering when these callbacks would happen. Part 11 is the answer.
Coming back to it.
Yeah, we come back to same type of murder.
But that also came back the last time when we saw Evil Coop with the black box as
Truth.
if he was.
That's fair. Yeah.
And then we know that they kill in a similar manner.
Right.
So
Nothing's an accident. Like there's no accidents here. Yeah. And I love my favorite Cole line is, "What the hell happened, Mackley? He's dead." Like, Cole, every line Gordon Cole
Well.
says could be on a t-shirt. Like he's just a treasure. He's priceless. It's wonderful. Yeah. So that's 2240 Sycamore. Then we transition to the Double R and what I like to call Briggs Family Therapy, which listeners who have followed us on this kooky journey will remember that we watched a similar scene with Bobby and Major Briggs and
Was
Betty.
Mama Briggs there?
Mama
there
Briggs.
was one time where Mama Briggs was there, another
Yeah.
time where it was just Major Briggs.
I
Right.
realized you
Yeah.
continue in a disinclination to engage.
Yeah.
Like it was that scene.
yeah.
with
yeah.
it was like Bobby and Mama and Papa in the Double R booth talking about Bobby's attitude, and lo and behold, 25 years later, we have Mama and Papa Briggs, Shelley and Bobby talking to their daughter about her attitude, and I love it, and it just really filled me with joy.
because for some reason Becky got Bobby's weird cocaine habit, which is upsetting, and then Shelley's love for guns and love for men who want to hit her or also have drug problems of their own.
Right.
So
Just generally badass.
Yeah. They like rebels. I think Shelley's trajectory that we see here is that she likes the rebellious bad boy Bobby. She doesn't like responsible Deputy Briggs. And that's
true.
probably what happened because I love Deputy Briggs. I think he's I'm such a team Bobby and such a crossover because you guys know I did not like Bobby in the original series.
No,
I love
me
him
neither.
now.
remember
I
when
love
he killed that guy? Yeah, let's bring that back often.
Right.
Yeah.
Bobby
killed a guy. Can't reiterate that enough, Bobby.
We just forget about it. We
He
just
seems
forget
delightful
about it.
now. Like he's just become a wonderful man. I love the way he deals with Becky. I don't know. I'm a huge Bobby fan these days. And if Laura is the one, Bobby is the two because everything's revolved around Bobby. Like this whole
Because of his closeness with Laura. I feel.
right. Yeah, it's
And then he
very
killed that
interesting.
guy.
I know. And
And-
he killed a guy.
Also, fun fact, the R&R has a to-go window if you go to the side of the building, because that's what's on the...
Listeners, Pat and I were there. We can attest to that being truth. And the brown mug that Norma keeps picking up and putting down so many times for no reason, that's what their mugs look like there. It's all so accurate. That place is super, super... Like now, that is literally what that place looks like. It's crazy.
Because Norma just stands around...
Judging and watching.
Judging and watching.
She's got a lot.
Looking like Rashida Jones
Yeah.
from Parks and Rec.
So, yes, she's Rashida Jones' mama. So a lot of stuff happens in this little sweet Briggs family scene. We see Becky kind of almost coming down from this weird experience, and she's going back and forth about divorcing Steven, and she said he's good inside, which I thought was an interesting kind of Peaksy reference. And then I love Machen Amick's the best crier. She's the cutest crier in the world.
No, she doesn't ugly cry.
She doesn't. She's so cute. Like, she's like, I love you, Norma. I can't do it because I'm an ugly crier. Like, I'm a more Claire Danes style crier.
Oh, I was just going to say Claire Danes. Like, where would you put ugly crying on the Claire Danes where, like,
right.
a 10 is Claire Danes?
Yeah.
Right, because
I'm, like, right there. I'm, like, a 9.5.
I mean, yeah, me too. I just go
No,
with
you're a very
red.
cute crier. No, Melissa, you're a cute crier.
Not when I ugly cry. Like, there's holding it in crying where you're like,
There's polite crying and then there's like snottiness.
yes,
Right.
exactly.
Right.
I think Shelley's the cutest crier, though. And she makes the cutest little crying voices. Like, oh my God. And I love when she says, we're your parents and we just don't want to lose you. I feel like that moment is a reference to Laura, you know, because she and Bobby look at each other and then Norma looks at Becky in this kind of meaningful way. It's like, that would stick with you if you had this horrific murder happen of a classmate when you were young, that you would feel like, you know what, I should be a pretty protective parent because my classmate got murdered.
Right.
Or
You know.
And she just got tossed off a hood.
Right. Yeah.
No
Like
shit.
3 hours
Seriously.
before,
And her
4 hours.
ex-husband before Bobby was Leo. Who somehow got lost.
Right. Yeah, we
Because
don't
of
know what
Linda
happened to
Merle.
Leo.
We don't
No
know
one
if
knows.
Leo's dead.
Yeah.
Also, he could
That's
be
true.
back.
He could be
He
back.
could just randomly
Please
show up.
don't let him be. There's only 7 episodes left, and I don't want to devote time to Leo. I'm just saying,
No, there's too
personally,
much
like,
going on.
I don't need any Leo time. I'm vaguely curious where if you wanted to post some fanfic, I'd read it, but I don't need time devoted.
So,
If I was a kid and threw my mom off the hood of the car, like I wouldn't be here today. Like I would have to back over her to make sure I finished the job because at that point, like it's one person or the other.
but she isn't a kid though. She's an adult. She's like a
That's like
25-year-old
what if-
Right,
woman.
married,
this
you're a
happened-
grown married
married
woman.
grown woman who did
Like,
this.
what
So
if-
she can't just
when
like
your mom comes this weekend, if you happen
Yeah.
to swing her from a car, like what would happen
That'd
then?
be really
Would-
fun. It'd be a fun weekend.
It would
Farmer's
be.
market and then just car swinging.
Mom, you hold on as tight as you can. I'm just gonna drive. I'm gonna drive.
Yep.
I'm gonna do some U's.
You guys, I'm about to blow your mind because I'm going to bring this whole red theory full circle. The gentleman caller that Shelley is seeing, his name is Red. The drug dealer.
Oh, the
Red.
kingpin.
right. Yes.
Isn't that amazing? We haven't thought about that before. So red is like the evil
Red
color.
rum, okay.
Gingers are an abomination of nature. And guys, I don't actually think that. I just want to say that for the 2 gingers who might be listening. I
She
know
might be thinking
almost every episode I rag on gingers. To be fair, this episode had a lot of gingers, just saying. But this character, his name is Red. He's the drug kingpin. He's the new Bobby. Like, he's the new Bobby because he's more like the old Bobby.
and
Right.
looks like the
He's
current
got better.
Bobby.
He's
Right.
got better magic than the old Bobby.
Right. And I think the fact that his name is Red just insinuates bad. Like, he's not good. Obviously, I mean, he makes Richard Horne seem sweet in the scene where they interact together. So
Yeah.
that's not a good
So we
thing.
find out
He intimidates Richard Horne.
Right.
Yeah. He's the one guy who's intimidated Richard Horne.
And it's just weird how when Shelley runs out to see him, it's like
She
high
lights
school
up.
makeout.
She lights up.
Yeah,
after-
she really does.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
forgets that her child is going through some
Yeah, and
dramatic
Bobby.
shit.
Like, Bobby's watching her, and he does look so sad. And Becky, like,
So
watches
sad,
him
so
looking
sad.
sad, and then
Mhm.
it
with
just...
her bugged out red eyes.
Well, and I thought too with Becky getting to the red and Becky's eyes, and I just thought like segueing like they're making all these live action Disney movies, and I thought that like she would make a perfect Little Mermaid because it's very representative of what high pressure diving would have on skull.
This is all
How
verifiable
about, like-
fact, by the way.
What's it from Ren and Stimpy? Who's the dog? Ren?
Ren.
Yeah.
When his eyes got real swollen
Yes.
and red. That's like her.
I mean, they're trying
Like a
to show
chihuahua.
us that
Yeah.
Yes.
She does kind of look like a chihuahua.
But
with
what's
red
weird is,
eyes.
like, even in the scenes where she's not high, her eyes are really red. Her eyes are extremely large now that you bring it up.
They're very give me the precious. Precious, give me the precious eyes.
Oh my god, crossover. It's amazing. Yeah.
That is a term that I've heard used before, so before anybody calls me out on that, yes, she does have gollum eyes.
She does. It's funny because I know
It's good.
Amanda Seyfried was one of the first actors that was rumored to be involved with Twin Peaks publicly. And when they said that, I was like, oh, she's going to be Annie and Cooper's daughter. Like, just that was kind of my first impression.
I could
But
see that.
I love that
Right,
David Lynch was
right.
like, oh, Annie? No, that never happened. Sorry, guys. We're just going to skip
She went
that.
back to the convent.
Yeah.
Yes. After
Like,
that experience,
David Lynch definitely
she dipped her hand in a relationship and she got
Right.
thrown into the Black Lodge.
Yes, the gas leak episodes, he definitely just pretends did not happen. Like,
true.
none of that stuff has come back at all.
So then a bullet flies through the double R.
And I have a
Yes.
question. So,
Yeah.
like, when stray bullets come through your window, do you shut all the lights off?
I actually thought that was an interesting choice. So
Right?
Norma yells, shut the lights off. I thought that was some commentary on how we're in an age now where we all, I don't know about you guys at your building, but we do like terrorist attack drills and stuff like that.
You do not.
Okay.
It could be part of it. Do you turn
Not
off?
at my current job, at my old job we
Did you
did.
guys
Yeah.
turn off the lights?
It was like, it was a armed shooter alert
Yeah.
drills.
My
so they can't see you as
Right,
well.
you turn off
Yeah,
the lights, and they
sure.
had us all going into a central location to be easier to kill in one spot, where all the executives were supposed to go into their offices. So it was like, let the
Huh.
plebs run into the cafeteria, and the executives be
The
safe.
executives.
I had a-
What location
That's not
were
right.
the executives put into?
My friend works in like a government position where they had like a mass shooter. And she's like, you're supposed to run unless you can't run, and then you just hide. You don't make a move. You don't try to save anyone. You just hide.
Right? I thought it was a commentary on the different
Like
times
that.
we live in.
Yeah.
That, like, if that had happened at the Double R in the original Twin Peaks, it would just been chaos. Now it was like, turn off the lights. Everyone is prepared. Like, we're prepared for mass shootings now, which is sad. And that was kind of what I took from that moment. I think it was on purpose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's been a lot of social commentary, I think, kind of strewn about the
Right.
series so far. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that we all kind of think in the sense of like something bad or apocalyptic now.
It's going
I
to
meant,
be like being prepared.
I met the woman on the first floor when I was coming in today. Finally, I introduced myself to her, and she has a dog. And I thought, like, I'm glad that I got to meet her because if the apocalypse happens, she'll let me in so I can eat her dog.
I always more think about how your cat is going to eat us like 30 minutes after
My
we're dead.
cat?
Yeah,
Oh,
your
yeah.
cat will not wait.
She's
She's
too old
talked
now.
about that.
Yeah.
He's too old.
No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that my death involves your cat
He's
eating my
hungry a
eyeballs.
lot.
I know. He's my arch nemesis. We don't have to get into it, but there's an understanding between
He's aging a lot faster than
Me
you
and
are,
Nate's
so
cat.
you're winning.
He has a love-hate relationship with me. He hates me because
He's still hoping she dies first.
right. I'm the maybe primary female scent he ever smells,
Right.
but loves me because I occasionally bring him the wet food.
Right.
So he's confused generally when I come around. But yeah, he'll gnaw on my corpse. So there's a shot in the Double R. This whole sequence I thought was incredibly disturbing, not least of all because that is exactly how that street looks. Like, that is Snoqualmie on that corner.
Yeah.
Pat and I were there.
Yeah,
We
I
went to
know.
that brewery right where they had the zombie girl, was right by the
Yes,
brewery.
Right. Yeah.
And it was a delightful brewery.
It
Snoqualmie,
was.
you haven't started sponsoring us yet, but we would love to come and stay
It
with
was
you
like-
again.
That place the brewery was more like their Bang Bang bar.
It
than the
was. It
Bang
was
Bang
really.
bar.
It was because it was kind of out of the way,
Yeah.
and it was the one brewery in Snoqualmie, and it was very cute.
Anyway,
Yeah, so Bobby runs out. We have this kind of chaotic scene where there's a minivan and a ginger couple and their son, who is not a ginger. The father and son are both in camo, and the son has just shot a gun, and it was because it was in the back of the car. Yeah. The mother's kind of screaming in the typical David Lynch shrewish wife way, but in this case, I think she's justified that the dad apparently just left a loaded gun in the back seat with their child. But what's really disturbing is that the child is just like staring at Bobby in this pure evil way.
He doesn't give zero fucks.
Like he knows what he's talking about.
He's like, yeah, I know what I just did.
I know what I just did. I meant to do.
Sorry, I missed. I have to.
You can't do
Cop.
Shit. Yeah.
Right.
I'm just this innocent child with a creepy look.
It's America.
Yeah, he's really creepy. He kind of reminds me of David Lynch's son, who played the magician, like being like creepy creamed corn boy. Like,
he likes to do scary fat people, super creepy kids, and then women who just nag and nag.
Well, we get to a creepy fat lady who just is screaming, getting home or getting to some place.
Trying to get home.
About?
Right.
Why is this happening?
So
her uncle's going to be here.
Yeah.
She's joining us.
Flipping out. She's we got miles to go.
Her screaming was worse
sick.
than the zombie drool scene that followed.
Yeah,
right.
Her daughter presumably
she doesn't say
like lifting up like it's a horror movie and starts spewing out some sort of like clear vomit or something.
It was like green.
Yeah, right.
Greenish vomit. Great.
See,
green.
So I thought this was really disturbing and weird, but what I took from this scene was like another instance of something really over-the-top horrible happening to someone and nobody is responding to it appropriately. Like
there's something off in the world.
Right. Like Bobby is so frozen in shock and fear at this girl, and it's uncharacteristic. Like something's going on, but it's also this continuing message with like Dougie and Candy of like, we just ignore each other, you know, and like this girl couldn't be more blatantly needing help, and here's a police officer and he's just staring at her and doing nothing.
I mean, it does say something about the world today, because it is a lot of that where it's like,
right,
I know I should help,
but I just don't know what to do. I'm so alienated from everyone around me because, you know, it's just like it was really disturbing on so many levels. On the one level, I mean, we just had this morning, we tried to get on the Metro and there had been a jumper and it was delayed. The very fact that I can call it a jumper shows that we're way too desensitized. And then I'm like, you know.
Because it wasn't a jumper, she was crossing the...
I don't know.
Well, we don't know that it just hit a pedestrian. The train just hit a pedestrian.
Yeah, I saw it on the news.
Oh, you did?
Where it was like she was crossing the tracks and got hit.
Oh,
like,
God.
It was an accidental?
Oh, okay. Usually, I just
will
assume it's a suicide because typically it is.
Usually it's like a Friday at 4:30, 5 o'clock when some asshole's going to commit suicide and ruin my night.
But that's exactly what I was going to
say. Like in the morning usually is.
When you're all done with work and you just want to get on the train and go home and you find out.
Well, that's when the most trains are.
In front of the
so it makes sense why
the
volume is a lot more during rush hour than it is off rush hour. Like, you have to really make an effort. This is like, let me think about, not this train. This train's not good enough. This next one.
I mean, I would feel like, I guess some people don't think about it, but I would feel like if I did that, I would be making a conscious decision to, like, screw up everybody's
right. No, I know. And like my point that you are beautifully proving.
I mean,
this we're totally desensitized.
Right. Oh yeah.
To these big things. Like this is like this one woman's just so annoyed that her dinner plans are ruined by like someone almost losing their life, and I was the same way this morning. Not annoyed, but like, you know, we do that. Like that's human nature, but it's like heightened right now. It's just like this intense state.
Because I drive to work, and sometimes if I'm stuck in traffic, I go, someone better be dead up there. Because why is this taking me so fucking long to move 12 miles. Like, I just want to move. And it's like, there better be an accident. There better be someone severely hurt.
Oh, I've been there.
Oh my god.
And then and then once you see a truck or like an ambulance go by, you're like, ooh, sorry, but good. There's a reason behind it.
Right.
I know. So anyway, that was very bleak.
We're horrible people.
We are.
But besides that.
And that just shows you, yeah. So
that's my influence on you all. I'm
it's
sorry.
true.
Oh.
Your charms don't work on the cold of heart.
Okay. So we get back to Sheriff's Department. We've got
Yes.
Truman and Hawk.
Lots of pictures.
This is a great scene. My favorite quote from this scene is about Hawk's map. He goes, "It's very old, but always current." I felt like that was David Lynch putting in a little joke about himself. Like, I'm very old, but I'm always current.
Oh.
And it was
I
a very
was not
cute...
even thinking about that.
Not that David Lynch, you're not very old. You're just a little bit old. You know, like, it happens to everyone. But always current. And so Hawk has this old map that's always current. It's showing, it corresponds to where Major Briggs told them to go, which is Blue Pine Mountain, where his station was. And
we get a fire and dead corn stalks.
yes, which is Garmin Bozia. So Truman asks about what is the fire symbol. And Hawk says it's like modern day electricity, which I thought was interesting because maybe because we've been watching with the subtitles, but we constantly get electricity cackling, electricity humming.
And that's when you know something's happening.
Exactly.
Just like ominous music.
Ominous.
Music.
Ominous.
When that comes up, like, you can kind of,
yes,
you know something's like, oh, shit's going down today.
Yeah, this
like,
was probably my favorite scene because we got, Truman is seeing this fire on the map and he says, "What's this campfire?" And Hawk says, it's not really a campfire. And Truman says, "Is it good?" And Hawk says, "It depends on the intention of the person," which I think is a really clear nod to, like, Cooper and the two Coopers. Like, both Coopers have a fire. You know, there's evil Cooper who has the black fire, which we find out is the kind of combination of Garmin Bozia and fire. Because they show on his map diseased corn, which I was like, oh, we know what that is. Come on, David Lynch. And then, they show this black fire. So there's this whole kind of fire walk with me reference, obviously, because they're literally where you're going, there's fire. Mm-hmm. So it's a really cool scene. We get a lot of payoffs. We get what looks like kind of a bastardized owl cave symbol.
It's more of a circular symbol.
Yeah, it looks more spidery than owlish.
Right. It's more like a fat owl, like a super fat owl. So it's like a big circle with tiny little...
It's got to be deliberately different, because it does look different. But it's close enough.
Possible we haven't seen this one before. I'm not sure.
We might have... I think we saw it on the slip that...
yes, it was on that slip that Major Briggs had in the bullets.
Right, but not on, like, anything in the past.
Maybe it's a different location. Because we know there's multiple portal locations.
Right. So maybe this is just...
I don't know. Yeah.
So they're going to go to Blue Pine Mountain. There's this symbol. And I love that when Frank asks about it, Hawk just says, "You really don't want to know about that. Like, I'm not going to tell you about that."
It's a whole thing.
And Jesse comes to show his car to Truman. I love that. It's like, "Do you want to see my new car?"
I know. I feel like they're bringing in Jesse for something, though.
Yes,
like,
and Jesse's had some weird moments, too.
Yeah, he's had some weird, like...
He was my PTSD candidate guy.
Right.
He was also at the scene of the gunshot, and he was like, I was at Big Ed's gas farm.
Yeah.
And I feel heard a shot.
Lynch is putting an extra, like, pause onto him, like, don't forget about this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's important. Well, Margaret also calls the log lady, and she, of course, nails everything, knows everything, that they're going to the fire.
My log is afraid of fire.
Right. My big thing that I noticed in this scene was that
you are going.
which is the description. There's fire where you are going.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like the first time, to my recollection, that Hawk thanks her because he says, "Thank you, Margaret." And I don't think he ever does that. They always are thinking of her as some kook, but she really does know everything.
But I feel like in this season, they don't, because it's
Right.
only
Hawk
Hawk
certainly doesn't.
Right.
and Hawk knows what she's saying is true, but it's
Right.
because she speaks in rhymes,
Right.
he needs to really dissect it, and he's probably I am the only one doing any of the police work.
Right. As always.
God damn it.
The decode.
Fine, Margaret. Fine.
Keep
I'll
having
look
to-
at my heritage and see what the fuck is there that I'm missing.
Just tell me. I have
I
to
know.
decode your
Can't your-
messages all the time.
Can't your log just speak in complete sentences with a
Your
little more
log is so
detail?
fucking cryptic. Yeah, I agree. So we get back to Buckhorn Sheriff's Department, and we have, it's a great tableau of Diane, Albert, and Cooper sitting in this super sheriff's,
no Cooper.
I'm Cooper. Cole. I've been calling Cole Cooper every once in a while. It's bad.
Because he's the one that we have to relate to
Yes,
now.
you're right.
When,
Yes.
Because Cooper's
You're totally
unavailable.
I have been
think
just making that mistake a lot.
It's weird
Cole.
that
Gordon's the
Lynch
new
is making himself
Gordon Cole's the new. Yeah.
Right.
Coops.
You're totally right.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
It's Cole.
He's a pretty big. He's a lot bigger part than what
He
I would have
is.
expected.
and I
so.
don't dislike it at all. I
Yeah.
think he's great.
No, because we can relate to him and we know that he has the real Coop in his heart.
Yeah.
So
He's a
we
good
love
guy.
him. And because we're stuck with fucking Dougie nonstop, which we'll get into.
Yes. We trust Cole completely. I believe everything Cole says. I never have any
But I
doubts
think
about
it's
his.
a little narcissistic.
He might be a little bit. He
Oh,
did bring
okay.
Tammy in, which was sort of dumb.
She
But
wears a lace shirt to work? What?
it was a lace peplum shirt, too. I thought it was very cute. If it wasn't lace, it'd be totally work appropriate. But
Right, if it was a blouse.
agreed.
But it wasn't.
So he's
So
his
bring the coffee, Tammy.
right.
It's the only thing, because you look like a stewardess.
Right, and she even interrupts a reveal because Cole says "cat on a hat on a roof" because his hand is shaking, which
Yes happens in the original series before major events happen, like
I
when
remember that.
when Annie is abducted. Right before
their
that,
hands-
everyone a
in the
whole bunch
last
of
episode,
characters.
a bunch of their
Yeah.
hands were shaking.
And it might have happened before that as well, but that
Yeah.
was right before Annie was abducted.
And maybe in
That
Fire
was
Walk with Me too.
Maybe
It's like
in
a
Fire Walk with
precursor
Me,
to
but-
something happening.
Yeah, it happened to Pete.
Right.
It happened to Cooper and probably a
Right.
few other people that happened to.
And this is the scene where we
Shit.
get a more solid sense of the fact that they've kind of forgotten about this interaction with the dead puzz in the portal, and they start to remember it piecemeal throughout this scene. So
Yeah.
it's Gordon, Albert, and Tammy and Mackley, and they're sitting having coffee and donuts talking, and they're looking at Ruth Davenport's arm picture with the numbers, and at first they have no recollection of the dead puzz, and then it kind of starts with oh, there was that guy, and then it was oh, I saw this, then I saw that, and the only two who are consistently saying I didn't see anything are Mackley and Tammy. Even Diane, she starts to say she saw something, then she backtracks.
Right.
So
Because she's in with... We know that Diane has a shady...
right,
She's in with Evil Coop.
Yeah.
because she's trying to memorize the coordinates.
She's trying
Right.
to memorize coordinates, and
And
then
Albert's watching her
Albert's
with
watching her.
squinty eyes,
Yeah.
we know.
and then make
We
sure
know.
as
And she's like, what
make sure that she knows that he knows. So,
Right.
Exactly.
so
That
there's
was a
some
really interesting
chess.
moment.
I guess there's some chess moves going
Yeah.
on right
Like,
here.
We know something shady's going on with you, Diane, but we're watching you.
Right. Yeah, that was cool. I mean, she doesn't try to, because Albert could absolutely call her out, but he doesn't.
No,
so,
he lets her see it, which
yeah,
I didn't catch the first time I saw it. I was like, why would you let him?
right.
Why would you
Just
let her
watching
watch
her,
you watch that,
sussing
but
her out.
He wants her to.
Because that's what we were going to keep an eye on her. That's what they
Yeah.
said the last
Right.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, I love when Cole's he looked like a homeless man. Just describing the zombie coal miner. Like, I wanted him to almost be like, he looked like a zombie coal miner. Like, I felt like that was
good. That's... I thought the same thing. It's so weird. Did you say that when we were watching?
It's just kind of been in our zeitgeist as a group.
It's like a weird zombie homeless man.
Yeah,
I call it
no, it has a very
coal miner.
So random. Scratch that. Scratch that from the record. But I did think that subconsciously.
It's true. They are.
With a little hat.
Yeah. And then my absolute favorite line, he says, now I remember I saw them in a room. I saw the bearded men. Dirty bearded men in a room.
Dirty bearded men.
Yeah, which is like, Cole suddenly remembers everything. And the way they shot that, David Lynch is looking right at the camera as he's saying this. And I was telling Pat from my rewatch, I noticed that this is going to be like a, stay with me here, but in the first one-armed man scene, which is the first Red Room scene at all, he literally explains what the Doug Paws are very clearly. Like, he's like, we were there. We were on top of a convenience store. We liked the eat. Like, he literally spells it out. Yep. And then he says, I mean it like it sounds. Like it was. And, like, that line, I mean it like it sounds like it was, it has really resonated with me because I think that's where we are with this series, where, like, they will spell out what something is, but it's so tripped out that we, like, don't believe that's real.
Right.
And then it'll be like, can you hear me, Hawk? Can you hear me? This is the reality of what we're talking about. Like, this is the answer.
Right.
You want answers? I'm going to spell it out for you clearly, but you won't even take it because it's so surreal. And so, like, I love when Gordon just literally says, I saw them in a room on top of a convenience store. Like, literally, that's what it is. Don't try and figure it out. They're just literally on top of a convenience store with their dirty beards. And that's a duck butt.
That's your new home now.
Pat, how do you feel about beard representation in this series?
So far, it's not so positive.
No.
It's painting a poor light on bearded men.
There's a negative beard stereotype that bearded men are dirty and crazy.
Although the one-armed man has a beard, and he's a good guy, so maybe not necessarily meaning. Maybe he's not meaning to be beard negative, but
it's a beard negative. It's a beard negative series. All right, deep breath, Dougie time.
Battling Bud Mullins.
Bud Mullins, Bushnell Bud.
It just...
Never has a boss had more trust in his employee, though.
He loves Dougie now.
He loves Dougie.
Loves him.
Totally trust him.
Phil Bisbee lures Dougie into his office with the coffee, which is...
No, which means that Dougie still has big mental health issues.
Know.
Come on, people, like...
They can't see it, though. This is part of the message here, I think, is that Coop hasn't fully returned, so people can't fully realize that he's got a problem or something.
Right.
You would ignore it. Like, in all honesty, you would be like, someone's up with so-and-so.
Unless we're to believe that Dougie was this close to incompetent before.
But he was kind of like a sleazeball.
No, we saw him.
Yeah, I guess it was normal.
He wasn't incoherent.
Right.
Nate, you said, because you had taken a little vacay from watching.
Right.
You were like,
I mean, my biggest... I think I have missed 2 episodes that I've sort of watched, but not directly watched from beginning to end, and coming back in before I went back and reviewed those episodes, my biggest disappointment was that Dougie was still Dougie. I was kind of hoping maybe he would snap out of that.
I know, it's hard.
We're like over halfway through, right? And he's still Dougie.
And now I don't believe that he will.
Right.
I don't know that he will.
I still think he will, because we are seeing... He is sounding more and more...
He's having more and more coherent moments.
Yeah.
Maybe he will at the very end, or...
Yeah, at least the last few episodes.
And I get it, but part of me gets annoyed because it's only cherry pie and coffee.
Right.
And it's these tropes that he had when he came into Twin Peaks, but it was like, didn't he have like 35 years of like not being in Twin Peaks? And maybe something might jog his memory is just all the Twin Peaks stuff. I understand
That's
it's the
a good
only
point.
thing that we know him for, but like something has to have. He has to have some memory besides just cherry pie and good coffee, like something. And like yes, it's badges and. That he can kill a man with his bare hands, like we saw with Spike, if we needed to. But it really kind of irks me that it's just like, he loves cherry pie so much because of Twin Peaks.
Right.
It's like, he was doing so before Twin Peaks.
He did have a light, I mean, I think for me, it's a purely selfish reason. I just want Kyle MacLachlan as Special Agent Dale Cooper.
Right.
I agree.
And
you need it.
You don't get that anywhere, really.
No, you don't. You don't get it in a flashback. You don't get it anywhere. And I just want to see that. And I hope we get a couple episodes at least with the old, exuberant, like that character is just so incredible. I just love Coop. I mean, I love Coop.
I mean, he's the central character that kind of gels everything together. And
it's sad. We're missing him. We're like longing for him and missing him, and it's hard.
Evil Coop's pretty fun, though.
Evil Coop is fun.
He's a good time.
You know who deserves some kudos is once you're tan, that equals evil.
I know. It means that you're ready to party. All times.
Bushnell Mullins, Dougie's boss, does like an exposition machine in this scene. He explains everything and he explains it really well. And I actually think like it was really well done. The way he like explains the whole Mitchum brothers and everything with Kyle MacLachlan just drooling. And he has to do literally the heavy lifting. And he does a great job. So I really like that.
Guaranteed, I bet that's part of like the whole argument with David Lynch and the producers about
like having this exposition person. Could be that David Lynch was like, we don't need this. Let's just have, because he explains
that was the compromise that they put in these expositions.
Scenes I mean, maybe it's just a kudos to the actor, but he made it seem like this is just the type of person who over-explains things to people. Mm-hmm. And like, it didn't feel like this was an exposition. It felt like a boss who's just real explainy. And I loved too that he's a good boss, except for putting him clearly in harm's way with like, normally it wouldn't
might be gangsters.
Right.
But $30 million check you're going to give them, even though they can kill them.
Go to Santino's, huh?
Oh, you're going to like that, Dougie. Yeah. The Bushnell Double Down. Yeah, it was great. We don't need to understand any of that, but needless to say, Bushnell took care of it. I mean, he connected Dougie.
Oh, the insurance plot.
Yeah, the insurance plot. That was like the mill plot, as it should have been. Mm-hmm. A 30-second explanation by an old man.
I guess we do kind of
2 seasons of stuff.
I still need a Bushnell Mullins explanation of the mill plot.
Oh my God. If Bushnell Mullins sat in an easy chair in front of a fire, opened up a book, and explained the mill plot to you, how much would you love that?
We need a Doug from House of Cards in the bathtub explanation.
Did you guys see that? Oh my God. House of Cards side character Doug Stamper. I forget the actor's name. Damn it. He's wonderful. I love him. But he explains the plot in a bathtub with a glass of wine. And it's beautiful. It's so good. So we cut to the Mitchums. Mitchums? I do this wrong.
Mitchums. It's M-I-T-C-H.
Mitchums.
Yes,
Mitchums.
But I want to point out first, while Boss and Dougie are chatting, Bill Mullins, Tony's peeking in the window, being like,
"Oh yeah, Tony's such
Tony
a
was
asshole."
Told the Mitchums, like, dude, this guy fucked you over, so you're gonna want to kill him, dude.
Oh yeah,
you're gonna want to kill him.
That's right. He was.
I forgot all about Tony.
He was peeping.
And then when they drove to Santino's, which is really the middle of the desert, the first Cooper sees the Red Room and has to go into a coffee shop.
Yep.
And then comes out with a box.
Yes.
And ginormous.
We don't know what's in there. We don't know what's in there.
It harkens to what's in the box. Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Yes.
Also in the desert or something.
Yeah. Her head's in the box next to like a jade egg.
Spoilers. Sorry.
Yeah. It was a big
What movie is
7
that?
reference.
7? Okay, 7. Yeah.
Did David Lynch write 7?
No. But
No.
spoilers, it's Gwyneth Paltrow's head. Oops.
Envy.
The pie that he gets is from Sisman's famous coffee.
The coffee they all
And
drink,
it's
yeah.
the same coffee that Tracy brings Sam in New York. It has that Z.
Yeah. Which we noticed, I think, right away in like episode 4.
Yes, there's also red curtains in the coffee shop.
Really?
The one that's in their building.
Wait, are you sure that's not part of the vision of the one-armed man?
I double-checked.
Oh, okay,
there's
okay.
vision curtains and there's real curtains.
Okay, wow. Very...
The Mitchum brothers love Raisin Bran, and we also learned that Bradley Mitchum had a dream about killing Dougie, and he just really can't wait to kill that guy.
But then he finally remembers the candy cut, which I like. The candy cut.
Yeah.
Is all healed.
Well, between there, we get that weird transitional scene where they're driving from the buildings. And it's like this, like, it feels like a girl's, like, romantic comedy slow jam song. It's so out of character, because it's like Colby Calais song or something.
Right, it's this weird montage of like, Coop is driving.
Coop's having a great time.
Down Las Vegas.
But it feels like LA Times, like, I don't know, some sort of like...
Right.
It's a Las Vegas song, but yeah.
Viva Las Vegas by Sean Colvin. But I couldn't find the song on Spotify. So they do not go to Santino's. They go to the desert. Cooper's in a white...
You can tell the driver's so sad that he knows what's happening. He's like, hey, red door.
Yeah, they know each other. They're buds.
It's like he pulls into the desert. He keeps looking back like, this isn't Santino's.
Yeah, that
not
would be...
saying anything. Stroke victim.
I know, man.
So many stroke victims.
It's true, and they just go and go. I like that Dougie's in a white limo, and then the Mitchum brothers are in a black limo.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a great, and actually in this episode, Belushi totally grew on me. Like, he really did totally win me over.
He does kind of look like a Muppet.
Yeah, and he's like, just very charming and very likable. He's extremely likable.
Right. He has that Midwest charm that we love.
Yes.
That Belushi way about him.
Yeah,
he's
we're just like, hey, guy, you could be my best friend.
Right, that's what it is.
Or you could punch me in the face because...
He seems approachable.
Right.
And he says there's something in that box, and if that something is the something in the box, then we can't kill him. So he's telling Rodney, to your point, the candy cut is gone.
Yeah, the candy. First of all, they discover, which is in his dream, that the candy cut is gone. So that's one premonition.
Where it looks like he's ripping off a scab, but really it's a Band-Aid. Because the Band-Aid's flapping in his wind, but it does look like he's taking his skin and ripping it off. And being like, are you bleeding after this?
Right.
No, it's healed.
No. And then he says it means he's not our enemy. So I love, too, that Rodney's reaction after Belushi whispers cherry pie in his ear is to, like, pull out his gun, like, cherry pie, no! And charge at the guy, like, full throttle.
Because it's a poor box for a fucking cherry pie.
Right.
It's a great box for Gwyneth Paltrow's head.
Absolutely.
But a
perfect
shitty
box
for a pie.
Agreed.
I wondered though, like, so the box is so big because in your dreams you need kind of something big to remember.
That's a good point.
So he's not going to remember a little box that he's holding, but a big box would be more memorable.
Right.
So that'll jog your memory more.
I just thought they were out of pie boxes.
They could have been, but yes, that could be that they were out of pie boxes. But that's just part of, like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think you're onto something.
Kind of power.
That's pretty deep.
Yeah.
It's a really cute reveal that it's cherry pie and that he has the $30 million check and Belushi loves him and he does a happy dance and everyone's happy.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's adorable.
Meanwhile, it's just Dougie.
Just
floating
Dougie.
in the background. It could be right.
I wonder if the next scene they go to Santino's. Like, well, we were gonna fake go to Santino's, but
that probably was. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about that.
Well, we all
no, it's really good. Like, we were gonna tell you we were going there and then kill you, but now let's go.
Somehow they find out that Dougie's kid doesn't have a gym set.
Right.
And they're like, he has no gym set? And Dougie repeats that.
And then I love that.
Gym set.
Is this Dougie's first alcohol? Like, he's just drinking champagne?
Could be. He seems to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Seems to enjoy it, but not.
But someone has to hand him his fucking glass because he's a stroke victim.
Right.
I guess a good question is, I didn't get what drink that was they were drinking.
I thought it was champagne.
Oh, it was just champagne. Okay.
Or sherry, maybe.
Oh.
Is it where
someone's watched all the seasons of Frasier.
I actually don't think they were sherry glasses.
No, it was champagne.
No, I think it was champagne because
that makes sense.
They just got this $30 million check and they're super happy and they're celebrating. So they're cutting up the pie and drinking champagne.
Yeah.
Yes. And interestingly, the music is this upbeat piano music, and then it changes to this more somber music, and Cooper is staring at the piano, and I think the music sort of sounds like Laura's theme.
Laura's theme, yes, it's a different version of Laura's theme,
And he's kind
mesmerized
of enraptured with it, and then the lady slot addict and her son Denver come in.
Mr. Jackpots.
I loved her. I thought she was great.
Good for her.
And
then she says, a great line that's I hope you realize what a special person you have here. And
she says,
people are starting to, I guess,
see him as special.
Yeah.
And I don't mean it in any way but unique special. But, ooh.
Not special ed? Is that what you're trying to say?
With Dougie,
it's a double entendre.
Yeah. But things that, so on our list of things that Dougie Coop says normally, he says thank you again in a normal voice. Because the lady slot addict says, I'm glad I got to thank you again. And he says thank you again in a normal voice. And he says damn good in a normal voice after trying the pie. And then he had a couple other things that I can't remember. But he had this episode more breakthrough normal sounding phrases. So maybe he's coming back. But we say that every episode and then it doesn't happen. So
if it was less parroting, I think it would be better.
Right.
Because at least that would give you some indication that there's more there than just him sounding normal, which it doesn't. He sounds normal, but then you can't really catch that.
Right.
It's he's still parroting back the last several words you said to him. No gym set.
Right.
It's also a good Candy scene. Again, she's still out of it. She's still kind of stroking her chest. And
we've never seen a normal Candy, though.
I know, I guess we haven't, but I just find
the normalest Candy was when she was sobbing because she hit her boss in the face with a remote.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't necessarily the remote.
How can you ever love me again?
Yeah, that I felt was the most normal Candy because she was more with it. Shit, I just fucked up.
Yeah.
But this is all look over there.
Oh, and at the right, yeah, and she's. I wonder too if what she meant by there was so much traffic on the strip. There were cars everywhere. If that was literally correct or not.
Right, and as we commented while we were watching, when we saw the Dougie scene of we're driving, traffic's not too bad, everything's pretty clear, so there wasn't a lot of traffic.
Did the driver mention something about the lucky, you rolled the lucky dice or something?
Oh, maybe.
What did he...
Because you're about to go to Santino's and get killed.
No, maybe you didn't know.
The very end of the episode, we get another piece of pie for our friend, and Cooper says friend in a normal voice, and Candy is so happy to serve him pie and let us look at her boobs for a moment. And then we get happy laughter and the rolling credits.
Yeah.
It's true.
No bang bang bar.
No bang bar. And is that the second episode with no bang bang bar, or do we get one?
So.
Yeah.
There's been Yeah, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 years. So, like, the first two, like, the first episode was kind of like a part 1 and part 2. So part 2 ended with the Bang Bang Bar.
Oh, right. So one didn't really
One
have
didn't
it.
really have it. But then it had it a whole bunch of times.
Yeah.
And not every time to end it, like, episode
Rebecca
8,
Del
so.
Rio was 10, right?
That was last episode.
Yeah.
That was the Bang Bang Bar.
Right, so we have had, but it's, so hopefully next episode we get some answers. I appreciate the answers on Becky. Thank you, but would love some answers on Richard now. That would be really good. And let's move Cooper's development along just a little bit. Why don't we?
Please.
That'd be real fun.
Full sentence. One full
One full
sentence.
sentence.
That's not a mimic.
Meanwhile,